Okay, time constraint，时间关系啊。
Yeah, that should be the best in case you want to.
Right. Time constraint，我们可不可以就是回顾一下啊？
Not having a meeting with IT.
Let's go to question one. What are different roles? 我们就第一个提问啊，就不同人员扮演的这个角色。Who is the decision maker? 谁是决策者 ？And VP. Okay. Who is the more active decision maker? 哪一个比较积极主动做决策 ？VP. The CEO basically is just you submit, I sign, and okay. Right, so the more active one is the VP of sales， 就主动的决策者啊。Who is the fault finder？ 挑毛病的会有谁 ？IT and VP. Why? Well, IT for obvious reason. This is a IT product， 这是 IT 的这个产品 ，IT 肯定会挑毛病的，这肯定。But why VP？
VP is new.
New and
avoid risk.
avoid risk. 看什么？
You take more big projects.
看什么？以前被咬过是吧？compare different solutions 或比三家 ，right? And bad experience before. I mean, you don't want to have a system and then no one use. 这综合起来，它应该会比较注重这什么？最后的效果。Right? We very much focus on the overall, the eventual performance, not just the price, but overall performance. Okay, so that's the perspective of the VP. So different fault finders. IT will find fault for two reasons. Which are two reasons? IT 会就是挑毛病，它挑两方毛病，哪两方面？
They don't want to do some
It's more work, it's additional work, so everything I'm going to say no, because it's additional work. The other part is because it's IT, so it'll just only assess things from the IT point of view. Right, that's only IT, right, so that's IT part. The VP is also a fault finder, but it's more on, can my people use it? Right, my reputation is at stake. 我在这个什么，这个个人的这个声誉、名誉。 都在这里面。I don't want to make something, especially when I'm new. I don't want to create something and it fail. Right? So it's different. One is very technical and doesn't want to write a book. The other one is more on final result. Both are fault finding, but totally different perspective. Right? 两个侧重点都是挑毛病，但挑的毛病侧重点都完全不一样。So that's the situation. Who is the gatekeeper? Gatekeeper meaning if you want to see someone and then someone doesn't really let you see that someone else. VP 不让你见谁呢？
不让接 CEO。
Right? You want to see the CEO, the VP is going to say no. Right? So you got multiple roles, right? What about user? Who is the user? The entire sales force. So it's not mentioned here. 这里没有提到啊，就整个那个什么销售团队啊，就只说 Jack 是销售团队之一，然后领导是 VP Global Sales， 但没有说谁是那个什么没有提到这个团队本身。It's not mentioned, but you can say it's the entire sales department. Who is the guy? Jack and who could be the guy in the future? 将来谁会给你 VP Sales 为什么 In the future, the VP Sales will be your key guy. Now, the key guy is going to be Jack. But in the future, the VP Sales will be an even bigger guy. Why?
She's the one who opens the doors to the CEO.
She's the one who tells you, okay, this is what our CEO wants. This is what our IT says. These are what are some of the key things. Right now, maybe not, but in future, maybe. So this, we're also looking at things from a timeline point of view, right? And, nothing is static in sale. 你在做销售啊，就你的这个，你要考虑不是一个固态，是动态。你现在是什么情景？你过一阵子，可能这个情景会随着时间推移而改变。So you got to think about what could happen in the near future. Now, so the second question: Who is the biggest threat to the sale? 这里面几个人能够造成这个销售搞不定的最大的风险是谁呢
You think it's
？VP， 还有吗 ？IT. Okay, so we got two different groups in VP and IT. So let's VP. Why VP?
Because the VP is more higher in the decision maker chain.
Yes.
And because she already has the
Bad experience in the past.
And well, she's the one who's getting all the opinions.
Right.
And then if she's in the end she's turning into the no way, and there's not going to be a lot of chances to take it out, to talk her out of it.
The moment she says no, right? If you lost your opportunity to impress on her, and she says no, that's the end. 你第一次见她，或者前面两次见她，她不觉得，就是你是靠谱，你是合适的，基本上她就怎么样，拒绝你，就完全没机会。Okay, so that could be a reason. So why IT? 为什么 IT 是最大的危险
Because this problem was already known for a long time, but still they failed to persuade to get this system.
Right.
There must be some background that IT
Sure.
is quite powerful to
Could be.
boost the business.
Okay, does the VP or the CEO know about IT? CEO 跟那个 VP 的对技术的认知高还低？低，他们就会听谁的话呢 ？IT 的话 ，because they don't know much about IT, so they listen to IT. Is the IT motivated to do this? No. So the IT is going to say a lot of things that say, no, this cannot be done, that cannot be done, everything cannot be done. Right? So that there could be a situation that IT may say that 就是啥都不能做，就这东西做不了 because it doesn't want to do anything. So that both are important threats. 两个都很重要，都是一种威胁。Now let's go to VP. VP is a threat, but VP threat is more because of how to reduce risk. 对吧 ？VP 最主要就是为什么说危险呢？因为他觉得我要找一个靠谱、风险低的合作伙伴。I don't want to risk my reputation. I want to make sure that this is going to be successful. Right? I don't want to take any risk. So that's the source of the threat. For IT, the source of the threat is I don't want to have extra work. 对 IT 来说是我不愿干活，所以我会为做某些方面的一些举动来影响整个销售流程。It's both are important threats, but in different nature. So for the VP, the threat can be overcome. For the IT, it's a lot more difficult to overcome that threat. Right, VP, because you know you need to impress her. If she says no, that's the end. But you can do some things to make sure that she says yes, or we can see her next time. For the IT, the threat is always there because it's hard to change that person's motivation. The person doesn't really want to do anything. Okay, so that's a key difference. Now knowing that, we are not going to debate whether who is the bigger threat, but just to keep in mind, 两个都是威胁，关键不在于哪个威胁比较大，关键是第三题。The key thing is just the next step. What do you need to do to close the sale? Who do you need to meet first, and then who, and then who? Then you have a better way to advance the sale or to follow through. 你如果要跟进，你要先搞定谁，再搞定谁，再搞定谁，才能够达成这个销售。So any suggestions? How we should go around doing this?
So firstly, go to sales VP with the guide of Jack. So we know the real requirement of him. We need offer a good solution.
Sure.
Get his support firstly. Then we need talk to IT, same thing.
Okay, we talk to VP and then we talk to IT.
I'm still not. Maybe another way 就是这个另外一个就是我这个我还没想好，事实上，就是因为那个 VP 那个可能就是可以直接帮他引荐到那个 CEO 那边了，那么他可能会更。
我找 VP 带我进 CEO， 然后 IT 把它晾一边就行了。
那个也不好了，所以我在想是不是要把那个 IT 也尽快要谈一下，但是我觉得这个时候我应该去引播另外一个人去帮我一起去那个跟 IT 谈，因为我如果用一边跟这个 VP 销售在谈，一边跟那个 IT 谈，好像又不太好，所以我觉得还不如让我同事跟 IT 谈，然后我可以继续沿着这条路走。
So you get a colleague, the colleague will take care of IT, then you get the VP and get a VP and you see the CEO and then you get the sale. Okay, that's the one way. By the way, part 3, the last question, there is no standard answer.
Yes.
Right? Because every situation is different. This is just one case, but the same thing happening to 2 different companies will have different results. It's based on a real case, and we'll share what the people in the real case did. But we're not saying that because they were successful in their case, it will be successful in all cases. We'll share about the real story there. 有一个真实的这是一个真实案例啊，我们会把他们真实的一个做法做出来，但真实的做法虽然也是成功的，但并不代表它是万能膏药。也不能说你用别的办法就肯定做不了啊，很难说，你要有当时的一个判断。这边呢会怎么做？
我就直接那个，我觉得先去搞定那个就是关系比较好的Jack。
Okay, get Jack support. Forget about Jack. Yes, Jack. Yes.
第一个先去找他搞定，要找他更加的搞定。
更加的搞定，他已经搞定。
他现在已经帮我们已经约了那个 VP 的时间了，所以说已经定在沙头上。那在这段时间里面，我们要去找到 IT 去解决他的顾虑，不管他是工作上还是对他提供方案，都解决他。在
见那个 VP 之前搞定 IT。OK。
然后我在见 VP 的同时，然后 VP 肯定会问 IT 的意见，那个时候可以找 IT。
Okay, so we get Jack to see IT and somehow make IT like us more, and get the so when we see the VP, and if the VP will check with IT, the IT will say, oh yeah, these guys are good. Okay, so that's one way of looking at things. 还有没有其他的一些做法？ Any other suggestions how you need to do to advance the sale?
Well, maybe during a possible meeting with the VP, it would be useful to get from Jack information about how many, an estimation of how many sales they lost because of this problem.
Oh, the VP is committed to doing this CRM system. So there's no question about we need some kind of system to track how many sales gained and lost. So there's no question about that. The only concern from the VP is, what if I have this system and it does not work? No one buys in. That is the concern. So there's no doubt about we need a CRM system. There is a doubt whether will our salespeople use it. 这个 VP 的这个顾虑不在于我们要不要 ，sorry， translation coming to， 那个 VP 的这个顾虑不在于我们要不要做这个系统，他一定要做，他知道这个系统的价值，所以不用说我们为什么要做啊，这个肯定要做。他的顾虑是我做了这个系统，人家会不会用？我的这个销售如果不用的话，那我等于白做。这是他的核心的顾虑。Sorry， Right, so we talk about VP. Now, VP could be a huge risk. What is the key concerns about a VP? The key concern is the risk. What if people don't use? Right, so you can say we can talk to IT, but then again, IT is very demotivated, very negative. How much of chances can we actually convince IT to say yes to us and then yes to VP? Hard to say. 这你说你用 IT 来搞定那个 VP 嘛？这 IT 本身都不愿干活的，那这种就叫什么？加工不加钱，对吧？这个事多了没加钱 ，more work and no pay, no pay increase. So it's a very negative, demotivated guy. 你很难去说服这样子一个人。So if you want to think about before you see the VP and you know that seeing the VP could be your make or break moment， 哎，你见这个 VP 嘛，可能是成瘾在这一次，败瘾在这一次非常非常重要。So to make sure that this time around is well prepared， 你要做到什么万无一失。What you do is not to see the IT, but to see the sales department, not just Jack, but the sales department. And the sales department is not mentioned in the case. It's there, it's just that it's not mentioned. 对吧？这个销售部门嘛，这其实有存在，只不过我们案例没提到而已。So go to the sales department, get their feedback, find out how to make it useful for them. Right? Make sure that you gain the support of the sales department. 所以你在建这个 VP 之前嘛，继续去找这个销售部门，你可以做不同的一些测试。And along with we talk about digitization. Now is the age of prototyping. 对吧？做一个样式，做一个这样 do different kinds of prototyping, gain the buy-in from the rest of the sales people. So this is how we do it. And when we do this, the sales people like it. 就是我们可以做这样子，那个销售部门他是比较认同的，比较认可的。And use this case to convince the VP. So when you go to the VP, it's not like, oh, we have done many cases in the past. Those are other companies. 你去找这个 VP 的时候，你不是在跟对方说，我之前做了那么多案例，这些案例都是别家的，不是他们这家的。那你找对方是我见过你们销售部门，我也做了某些方面测试，我也做了个深度了解，我是获得他们的认可的。I got the support and buy-in from your sales department. They are very much likely to use the system if it's implemented. So what I do is to change the threat of the VP into what? A supporter. Right, so it becomes a supporter being buy from VP. Okay, so that's two steps, right? So the first step is take care of the sales department. Second step, take care of the VP. Third step, 然后呢？你搞定销售部门了，你搞定这个 VP sales， 然后呢 ？IT. Okay, then I got two choices. One is IT, one is CEO. Which one would you want to target first? There are a few characters in this case. 我们这边只有几个角色嘛，销售部门搞定了 ，VP 搞定了，后面就剩下两个人了，一个 CEO， 一个 IT， 你要先搞定谁？
Well, if everything is positive, I'll go to the CEO.
The real case is they somehow convinced the CEO without seeing the CEO. 他们就是想办法，这是个案例，就是他们搞定了这个 CEO， 但是没见到 CEO。So what they did is they coach the VP on what to say to the CEO. 他们就基本上让我搞定 VP 嘛，然后我再跟 VP 说，要不这样子，你把这个提案要怎么样跟你们那个领导说一下，我怎么样的一个把握。Okay, they coach the VP how to talk to the CEO and make the CEO, convince the CEO, make an announcement that this is what we want to do. 就通过这个 VP 去说服这个 CEO， 然后 CEO 就公布这是我们就定下来这么做。So once the CEO says, okay, this is what we want to do, what you do is, well, IT doesn't really like it, but you neutralize his influence. 你让他就是他不爽归不爽，但他没办法就是给你就是制造麻烦。Okay, so then you get the sale, but that is not the end. You get the sale, it is not the end. You have to implement the system, right? With a very unhappy IT. What do you do then? You see, what is compliance and non-compliance? 什么叫合规？什么叫不合规？不合规叫做你还没有搞定对方的时候就开始请客，叫不合规嘛，对不对？ Right? If you buy dinner and wine and everything before the sale, that is non-compliance. But if you buy nice dinner, nice wine and whatever after the sale, it becomes compliant. Right? So this is how you look at it, and it's not about the VP, it's not about CEO, it's the IT, and you may not be happy, but we got the sale, and we can find ways on how we can actually make the IT happy. Okay, so this was based on a real case, and that was what they did. 这是他们的这个路途。And again, this is in a way due to particular reasons, particular personalities of the VP, or someone like Jack, or the CEO, and of the IT, and it worked. And can we say that it will work every time? Maybe not. But this was exactly what they did. 这是他们一个成功的一个路径。So, moving on, and for all this, sorry, before that, there are a few things in buying motives, right? In this case as well. Buying motives, there is official and there is personal buying motives. Each one of the characters in the case has got different buying motives. 我们那个案例里面的每一个不同的角色都有不同的那个什么购买的这个动机 ，right? We want to have the CRM because it will drive sales. Those are official motives. 这是在公的这个动机。So official motives means either you improve financial performance or as in increase revenue or reduce costs, increase profit, or you improve productivity or business performance, or it's because of some company image. Right? That's official reasons. So that's the case of CRM. But what we see in this case is there's a lot of personal objectives. So personal objectives can be achievement, power, recognition, relationship, or safety. The key thing that the VP is thinking of is safety. 就这个 VP 在考虑的那个什么，自己一个小九九什么呢？我的乌纱帽不能丢，我要就是确保中期万无一失，我要安全，我要靠谱，我要降低风险 ，for my own personal reason. So that's what the VP wants. What the IT wants is what? I want to have, oh, it's not mentioned here, I want it to be easy, right? I don't want to have any trouble, right? For the sales department, what they want can be, they want achievement, I want to have, I also want to perform better, I want to have buy-in to the system, right? Some other cases can be relationship. I got good relationship with the previous supplier. I don't have good relationship with you, so I want to maintain my relationship. So these are personal reasons that may affect the sale positively or negatively. 这些因素都是什么？有在公在私的人，尤其在私方面的一些因素，都会影响到这个销售，不管是正面是负面。And sometimes the thing that make or break the sale is not the official reason. It's not because of whether we need the CRM. It's usually all this personal buying motivations, right, that make or break the sale. Right. So sorry, this is in Chinese, but basically what it means is people who support you, people who support the competitors, the one in the middle are the neutrals. So the one towards the left are your supporters, the ones to your right are your supporters of your competitors, the one who are against you. Right? Just analyzing customers' organization. Usually people who support you, they will support you quietly. People who are against you will also be against you quietly. 那些挺你的人，或者是反对你的人，都不会就是什么，就是不会就是很那个明显的去支持你或反对你，都是安静的。So this is not quiet. So you want to know who's really with you, who's against you. You need to make a few more friends in the customer's organization. Otherwise, you don't know what's on their mind. So that's some things to get about supporters. We won't have time to go in this case, but there's something to think about. You approach the purchasing manager of a new customer to sell one of your products. While the purchasing manager is receptive to ideas, they say there's no clear need at the moment, and that the price is much higher than the current product. He's still receptive, still wants to meet you, and then says if you want to have the next meeting. Your gut feel is that other people in the organization might have a need for your product, if not now, then sometime in the future. How would you want to follow up this point，就是采购经理嘛，就觉得我们产品是不错，价格高一点，现在没这个需求。你觉得吗？这东西嘛，就算采购没有这个需求，他们内部肯定有这个需求。就算现在没有，将来肯定有。关键是怎么去推进。Right, we won't have time for this, but generally, if the purchasing manager is open, what can you do? 如果采购经理比较愿意跟你谈，你可以怎么做？多聊聊，多认识里面更多的。Can find out more people inside the company, right? So we're looking at the most important resource a salesperson can have is time. We mentioned this earlier. 7% of your time in a day you are spending traveling. You only have maximum 30% with the customer. So choose customer carefully. What kinds of customer? If you can qualify 3 out of the 4, it is a good customer. 什么叫好客户？这里面4个因素里面满足3个就叫好客户。Right? So first of all, does the customer have a need? Right? Can you fulfill the customer's need? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, do they have the money? Some of you mentioned, do they have money? Right? Do they have means to pay for it? Number 3, do you have the right relationship? That's number 3. And the last one is, if you have the 4th one, it will be great. If you don't have it, that's still okay. It's potential. What do you mean by potential? 什么叫潜力呢？明年买的比今年多。Right? The next year's order will be more than this year's. It's called potential. Every year it's going to grow. So let's look at the 3. So if the customer does not have a need, but has the money and is very good relationship with you, will the customer buy? 客户没需求，但是有钱跟你关系很好，会买吗？ No, usually not. Right? You must have the need first. Right? On the other hand, customer has got a need, good relationship with you, but no money. 有需求跟你关系很好，但是没钱，会买吗？ Yes, buy a smaller product, buy small, buy less, buy something, right? Not a big, not a full thing. There's a need that they have budgets, but you don't have good relationship with them, will they buy? Yes, but it will be very tough. 会买，但是你会做得很累。Right? So if you can have all the 3 fulfilled, it is a good customer. If you have all 4 fulfilled, it is a great customer. So that's something to qualify, right? And the last one on objections handling, we're not going to go through the whole thing. Just 2 concepts. 1, negotiation as part of objections handling. This is what we call give others what you want by getting them to give you what. Get others to give you what you want by giving them what they want. 就给对方他们想要的东西来换取我们想要的东西。In a way, the simple form of explaining what's negotiation. In objections handling, what we want to do is we want to avoid conflicts. Objections happen all the time, right? If you're able to avoid them, that's great. But if they have any other objections, it's great that they raise up. What you want to do is to avoid any conflicts or argument. What is an argument? 什么叫冲突呢？我们最近有没有跟人发生过争执？不管在家里、在工作，有没有跟人家发生过争执 ？What happens when we have an argument with 2 persons? From your point of view, who is right, who is wrong in an argument? No, when you have an argument with someone else, from them, I'm right, you're wrong, right? That's an argument. From their point of view, who is right, who is wrong? They are right, I'm wrong. That's how you have an argument. So you want to avoid argument with the customer. Eventually, at the end of the argument, the customer will tell you, I cannot argue with you, I just will not buy from you. 我说不过你，我就不跟你买。Right? That is what you want to avoid. So we have this framework. Empathize first, talk about empathy. Empathize with the customer first, but not to agree, just empathize. Number 2, clarify and then have an agreement. This is how we do it. We'll go through the key points. We'll have examples at the end. Customer says it's too expensive. We say, no, I'm glad to say that. We say that is an empathy word. We Understand? I'm glad you say that. Why do you feel our price is high? Which is more important to you, price or quality? So this is an example. Customer says how much way too early. Customers call you and ask you how much. 太早的就是问价，也是一种反对意见。So it's like, thank you for asking. Apart from price, do you have any other concerns? If you don't have any problems with price, would you like to give it a try now? Right? Customer says, I don't have time. Please leave your brochures here and I will contact you later. I understand you're very busy, so is everybody else, but what if within 15 minutes I can show you whether you can achieve better results with lower costs? Will this 15 minutes be what they want? Customers always say, let me think about it, and after 3 years, they're still thinking. 客户说让我考虑3年以后还在考虑当中，怎么办呢？You can say that I understand concerns, you simply want to digest all you have learned just now, right? Which areas do you think is most valuable to you? What shall we do next? How can I help you to make a better decision? We're not pushing you, but we'd like to help you make better decisions. Our budget is fixed and cannot be changed. I understand what you mean. In which aspects do you think you want to improve the current situation? What do you think that's important to you? If we can solve these problems, can you do something for your budgets? Right, and so on. So these are some of the examples. We won't be doing actual planning, but questions. 疑问。Sorry to overrun. No, 还没有真正 overrun. We actually planned to 12:30, but I saw some of us leave, and some of us, it's either lunchtime, there's work, and there's work and lunch, right? 我们约客户吃饭，就一同做掉。Questions. Yes.
In your mind, what is the biggest difference between like Western business culture and business culture here? So where should you focus on when doing business?
Okay. In a way, it's not really Western culture. It's a certain part of Western culture only. Why? Let's say between German, are you? Yes, German and Italian. Is there a difference between business culture between Germans and Italians? Yes, and in fact, Italians are closer to Chinese culture than Germans. Right? Although physically, geographically, they're pretty nearby, but also it also depends on northern Italy or southern Italy. Right? So it's a different culture. So what we understand as Western culture, 我们说西方文化, is actually the area that is comprising Germany, northern France, especially UK. And some of the Scandinavian countries. So these are the more cultures, and then also their colonies. 就像这个北欧这些地段，英国、德国、法国北部以及相关的这个前殖民地。So it includes US, Americans, so they are very close to both English and German cultures. So this culture basically has got stronger emphasis on contracts, on agreements, written things, on the rule of law. So, and there are historical reasons for that. The whole history. 这个后面有这个很多的长远的这个历史原因，就不讲历史故事了。反正就这些文化就是很注重这个契约。They are very focused on laws and contracts. So when you have something that is more focused on laws and contracts, what's going to happen is I don't have to have personal trust with you. I don't need to really trust you as a person. I just need to trust your company. 对你不用太多的信任，就信你公司嘛。And whatever happens, we have a contract, right? If you don't deliver up to the expectations of the contract, you pay me. 那我跟你那个什么，跟你买东西，然后你那个什么没达标，干嘛？怎么样呢？我让你赔偿。So that's payment. If you refuse to pay me, I'll sue you. Right? 你如果不愿意赔偿，我告你。And when I sue you, we can still do business together. Right? So in a lot of multinationals, two companies can go to court, and they can still go do business together. Right? So that's very much international Western culture. Now, for the rest of the world, so that goes for Southern Europe. That goes for Latin America, because Southern Europe includes Spain, and Spain rules most of Latin America for many years. That includes Asia, that includes Africa. For the rest of the world, there is more emphasis on personal trust than on the rule of law. So if I sign a contract and you don't do as expected in the contract, I'm more reluctant to go through legal channels. 就我们签了一纸合约，然后呢，我让你那个什么，一个月后送货，您的那个什么2个月货还没到，我这边都那个停产那个很久了。但尽管如此，我也不愿意什么走法律流程。Right? So I like to find out what's going on. Can we have leeway? Can we negotiate? Can we discuss? Can we find out a way to mediate things rather than saying I'll sue you? Right? Because especially in Asia, what happens if you were to go to court with your customer? 如果在亚洲啊，如果你是那个什么面破公堂，跟客户就是告上法庭去了，这意味着什么？拜拜，就撕破脸。That's the end of any kind of relationship, right? So that is the difference. So knowing this and how it impacts our relationship is that is why we need to drink, we need to eat, we need to socialize before the deal. In Asia, in Latin America, in Africa, right? It's not just Asia, it's not just China, it's most parts of the world. You need to socialize because that is where you build personal trust. It's nothing to do with corruption. 跟那个贪污腐败无关，只是说我想了解你，我想了解你什么上有老下有小，还是什么小孩到哪上学这些。I need to know your family. I need to know your background. I also like to share my family, my background with you, so that we can bond as individuals. More than just representatives of two companies. 我们要就是什么，从2个人的这个交情是不是能够达到一定的这个程度，多过什么，只是一个简单的公对公的一个合作。Right? This is the Asian in a way culture mindset. So when we have lunches, dinners, some wine, and again, wine Italians sometimes we go to the customer, we bring wine. It's not because it is that expensive, it's just normal. And the best part is, if you can bring wine from your hometown, even better. Hometown wine is cheap, but it's from my hometown. You can't get it anywhere else. It's not expensive, but you cannot get anywhere else. 对吧？我老家土特产，你有钱买不到，但是这东西也不贵，只不过是我老家土特产，我就给你。And these are things that we do to build that personal trust and rapport, so that it allows us to talk about more things. Right? The biggest fear in sales in China is we ask questions, and then the customers are not willing to answer. 最怕就是什么？我们提问，然后提问呢，客户不愿回答。Why? Because there's no trust. The customer is thinking of, if I were to say something, will you use it against me? And so you need to have some level of trust building over time, and then customers feel more relaxed, find that I can trust some information with you. I trust that you will not use it against me or share with my competitors. Right? So these are the initial trust that Asia, China needs more. Right? Much more than what we call American, German, or UK type societies. Right, so when we go into questioning skills, 我们如果讲到这个提问技巧， there is a lot more requirements in Asia than say in Germany or in the US. In the US, you can directly ask the customer, so what are your key challenges? 美国人就直接问客户，你们目前的那个什么主要挑战有哪些挑战？ Right? If you were to do that in China, and if you do not know the customer well, what do you think the customers will tell you? No challenges. Everything is fine. Right? Because they don't trust you yet. Right? So these are some of the things that it takes time to build the rapport, the issues, and then over over a meal, and the person starts to tell you, oh, in my company, and this and this and this and this happens, it's creating headache for me, and so on. Right? So it's all over something that's more relaxed, informal, that more information tends to share. So that's in a way the difference. In terms of the structure, it's the same. 结构方面是一样的，只不过我们怎么去运用这个结构，是在中西两边会有这个差异。The sense of Yes.
我有一个问题啊，刚才老师你也讲过，就是比方说有一个客户采购不想让我们去建技术，
对，
然而呢技术又非常重要，
是，
那个我们经常做的做法呢，就是有可能是偷偷的去找技术，
是。
然后我想老师这边有什么
Okay, the question is the purchasing refused to let us see the technical person as a gatekeeper over there. And but seeing the technical person is critical, but the purchasing person does not allow us to see them. So the short answer is, can we get our technical person to call the technical person? 我就直接让我们的技术找他们的技术。And why we get our technical person to call that technical person? Because I did not want to see that technical person. It's our technical person who wants to see that technical person. You know what I'm saying? It's not my fault. So if the purchasing is unhappy, then why you go and see the technical? No, I didn't. It's my own technical department. So it's how internally you need to work with different technical people and get to see the right people. Same thing as seeing the boss, right? Sometimes in customers' companies, when they say, "Oh, what's your job title?" Sales representative, right? And then you want to see the boss. No, you are too junior. 对吧？你的那个档次比较级别太低，不能见老板，那怎么办呢 ？Right? Your job title is too junior. So what you can tell them is, my boss would like to invite your boss for lunch, for dinner, or whatever. So I'm not seeing your boss. It's my boss who would like to see your boss. So I'm raising both job titles. And then, of course, I'm not asking my boss to go alone. I am going with my boss. 对吧？我们去见对方老板，不是说我只是让我老板去见你们老板，我肯定会跟着去嘛，那我也见到你老板。Okay, so these are some of the things that we will have to work around.
Yeah. Still another example of foreigner sales to Chinese companies, but I think it's also a matter. It's also similar problem between Chinese and Chinese companies.
Yes.
In China, I came across many times with big companies.
Yes.
So when you go for a meeting, for the first meeting, you sit down and maybe you and your technical guy have 12 people in front of you, like this. And I think this happens a lot in public companies and big companies.
Yes.
And there's never a clear division, a clear role, which is something that you may find in more casual in foreign companies.
Sure.
So how can you let's say move the first steps into this negotiation or at least approach?
Sure.
When you have in front of you like 12 people, and everyone is, of course, they have a business card, they have a function, but the function is never very clear.
Sure.
So one is technical, but it counts more, it matters more than the general manager.
Right.
Especially in public companies where the roles are not very, are decided by someone else.
Yes.
So how to move on this?
That's why you need to work behind the scenes. What you see in front is just one moment in time. A lot of things happen before and after the conference, but not during the conference. Especially when there are a lot of people. Right? You find that in a meeting, whether it's a Chinese company or any company, Western companies included, if you are facing a lot of people, none of them likes to speak. 如果你对方就是一群人，就多5、6个人，基本上任何一方，除非一个领导愿意说话，其他人都不愿意说话。Right? So if you have a group meeting with a few people on their end, the boss will talk. Everyone else will remain silent, right? And it's not because they got no needs, it's because the boss is talking. So you don't want to express your opinion in front of everybody and in front of the seller, the vendor at the same time. 就你换位思考嘛，如果你是在公司里的内部，你领导在那边，其他部门也在那边，然后对方又是什么？又是乙方，又是这个供应商，你作为一个员工，你也不太愿意发表，就是当着所有人，又当着这个乙方来发表你的这个想法。Right? Nobody likes to talk in front of everybody. People like to talk in private, not in front of everybody, not in a conference. So, what is important is before you actually do the formal thing, yes, you're saying get name cards. When you get a name cards, if you are able to make some small talk, that'd be great. 你拿到这个名片，顺便寒暄几句，就是问一下你今天来主要目的是什么，想了解什么。What's your purpose of coming here? I mean, what would you like to find out more? Do you know about us? So make some small talk while you are exchanging name cards. You find a bit more about each of them. Right? That's before the main conference. Then during the conference, if you can do and if you have an assistant, 如果你去那边不是一个人啊，你边上还有一些是同事 ，get other people to observe them. What did you say that can actually get a response on their faces? 是吧？你说了什么东西，然后对方的谁脸上的这个表情有没有一些改变 ？Right? Certain things we don't say, but certain things these are what we call unconscious or subconscious behavior. 有些东西叫潜意识的一些举动。所以就你的这个喜怒哀乐啊，还是一些肢体语言，在某些情况下会不经意的透露。People will be subconscious about what they behave on the faces. So get our colleagues to be observant. At what point you say something, some people are more interested, some people are less interested, some people are unhappy, some people are happy. So this is to gather those observations and make notes. After the conference, with the name cards, you may need to follow up with the key people. If you have done enough homework and find out who are your guides, 你的那个线人，你的那个什么，引路者，是不是能跟你说这里面这12个人啊，谁比较重要，谁比较次要，谁是支持我们的，谁是反对我们的，啊，我们怎么去跟进？What are people that are supportive of us, who are against us? If you want to make this work, who do we need to approach? What should be our next steps? So these are things again you work behind the scenes with your guides, right? And you know who to follow up with next. You can also work with your guide about, okay, we made a presentation. For these 12 people, afterwards, what are their feedback? So when they give feedback, it's internally. They don't tell you their feedback, but they will talk about it in formal and informal settings about you. Right? They can have a meeting and some people voice about you. They can have lunch internally. They can go to the toilet internally and talk about you. And you don't know. So if you have people who are on the inside who are able to tell you more about what they say internally, it's going to help you. Right? And talking about having people inside, it is not a Chinese concept. It is an American concept. 这里面有线人啊，来给你通报，这个作为一个销售培训的一个概念，不是中国这边提出来，不是亚洲提出来，是美国人提出来。Right? You need to have someone on the inside to tell you what's going on.
这个说有问题，因为在中国来讲，大家都知道有一些是 under table 的这个 business。那现在呢，就是国企越来越强大，或者民企越来越强大。
是。
他们会走一些 under table 的一些这个流程和手续，所以也就相对有些财务呢会得到一些贿赂。
是。
那你针对这个国际大企业来讲，是公司是不允许这样的操作，那我们怎么去面对这些竞争和怎么去解决？
不给就不给。不给就不给。I mean, the question is, what if the purchasing manager say,